Hello?
What's up, girl? What happened after Tony dumped you?
Girl, I'm over it. I went from heartbreak to hate.
Oi, Sven.
Aww.
Hey, Sven.
Hey.
I like what you did there.
Ahoy, Joy.
Hi, matey, Bob.
So, one of our listeners thought I'd say, ahoy, Joy.
Oh.
Hi, Melissa.
Nah.
She told me never to talk about her on the podcast.
Oh,
No,
well.
we did. On next week's episode as well, I talked about her too. Anyway, we have Sven.
We have Sven.
Hello.
Sven, you have a podcast as well.
I do? Oh, I do.
It's starting next week. No.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm saying something about...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
tell
called
people.
Champaign is also a band, and it's me interviewing local musicians
Nice.
and about their favorite song.
That's a great podcast because I love the name of it actually, because people don't know Champaign was a band, right?
Right?
Young people don't know. I feel...
She goes again with these millennial bashing.
You know what? It's not even bashing. It's just the truth that you have to be a certain age and from the area to know Champaign is a band.
But now we have a podcast to tell us,
The Champaign is also a band.
and also to talk about bands from Champaign, Urbana. You don't just limit it to Champaign bands, do you?
No, it's pretty much anything within the central Illinois area, but I do try to focus on the Champaign-Urbana area.
Okay. I was going to ask
yeah.
if there's a cutoff. If you're 37 miles away, you're dead.
Well, I couldn't have just called it Champaign-Urbana is also a band
Right.
podcast, because that would have just, nobody would
Or
have gotten
Sedoris is also a band.
it. Right.
That would be interesting.
Right.
Homer is also a band. There probably is a band named Homer, though.
Yeah.
Or Belgium. All of the... Anyway, if you're not from the area, there's all kinds of tiny little towns around Champaign. And, yeah. So we're going to talk about Sven.
We are. I was
Uh-oh.
gonna ask my first question.
Ooh.
If that's okay.
Joy has gotten
Oh.
her MTV News gig down pat. She's ready to Tabitha Soren him.
No, I was just curious how you decided to come up with the format that you did, where you just pick one artist or, one song. Like, how did you settle on that?
Well, I think that it's good to have podcasts that, or to create podcasts that match something that you would like. So for me, I thought I would like to have a conversation, sit down with just one person, because I usually like to just chat with one person at a time, and to have that conversation where it's a personal talk about something that they wrote, and instead of just catching the entire pantheon of their discography, if you will,
Yeah.
it's easier to just say, well, what's your favorite song? And that varies. Sometimes it's like the one that they just wrote the day before, and sometimes it's one that they've written 10 years before. But it's always something very... I mean, I wanted to have questions in there that I would want to be asking myself. So...
That's nice. And do you feel like, this many episodes in, when somebody picks their favorite song and you've kind of heard their collection of music, that tells you more about them, in a way?
I've been finding that the way that I end up interviewing tells probably the audience more about me in general and how I interpret their own music.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like I'm spot on in terms of my interpretation, and others it's, I've been listening to it for a few weeks because they've told me which song it is, and then I end up coming up with my own vision of what I think the song is all about, and then they end up just kind of catching me off guard, which I think is actually a wonderful moment to have, because then I can have my interpretation and then they can tell me what they intended, and it's great filler.
Yeah.
So what we found out is that Sven is more like me because the podcast is more about him. than we originally thought. We thought he was going to be on your team.
Yeah, because the episode Maha is basically
Oh, yeah.
a good example of that, where you start off and you had looked up listen, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to explain what it is, because people are like, we didn't listen to that episode. But in the episode, you say what you think the word means, because you looked it up,
Yes.
which is what I would have done, so I feel that was fair.
A prepared journalist.
Right? Trying to do some research. And then the artist was actually like, no, actually.
Right.
There's different meanings of words throughout Latin America, and,
Yeah.
it's actually, I interpret it this way, so.
Yeah, but it couldn't have been more polar opposite because, mine was Maha means pest. Because, you just drop that into Google Translate and it's, in one box you say Maha and in the other box it's like pest.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, well, okay, that's really interesting. I'm like, let's go with that. And of course, as soon as, I started off and launched right into the interpretation of the song, well, I looked it up and I was really fascinated to find out that Maha means pest, and then just this long pause. And fortunately, through the magic of editing, I was able to recover that a little bit, but it was just, oh no, but it still made, it didn't necessarily invalidate my interpretation, because I think that's something that I think people are afraid to do, is when you interpret something, well, I interpreted that completely wrong, because we all do it with our own viewpoint and
Absolutely.
our own worldview. So I think I recovered well enough, but I was happy to
No, I
say
think it was a
that.
good episode. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's bad at all.
I mean,
It's
and wind and wind, tear and tear.
yeah, you know
I
what
mean, even in the English language, when you look at words, it's not exactly.
No.
You can, there's variations.
And specifically with music, I think lots of people, the artist means one thing. You'll hear, people will interpret a song a certain way. It'll mean a certain something to them. And the artist may have had a completely different idea in mind. So that's kind of the beauty of music, is it's kind of up to the person who's listening to take it how they will. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my next question, since I'm such a hard-hitting journalist now, do you ever have concerns that you'll run out of talent in the area?
That is a solid no.
Okay.
Because it does seem that, with the college town, sometimes you get those that will stick around just for their just stick around for their college career and form a band. And those are the ones that you want to catch before they head out and do other things. But because of this cycle of new people coming in and out, and those that even work for the university rotating through, you get new, I guess, fresh talent or whatever you want to say, that want to pursue music and create music.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Plus, we get a lot of imports, even non-related to the university. Sometimes people come to this area because we do have a good music scene here. So I think that's
Yeah. I'm going to be real honest, though, and say whenever somebody, comes here and, they're like, oh, I'm not from here, I moved here 2 years ago, and you can tell they're not somehow affiliated with, higher education, I'm like, how and why?
Right. Yep.
Tell me how Champaign happened to you, sir.
it's because you're one of those motherfucking townies that just can't live here anymore. Every second that you're here, it's just your life is dying, your soul is dead.
You know what?
And you're going to move
That
away
is
300
false.
times.
Excuses while we
Every
fight,
300
Sven.
times you're going to return. Tell me I'm wrong.
Bob and Joy are going to have a fight real quick. No, the problem is that I have heard countless people talk about just how boring Champaign is, and when they get here they just can't stand it, and what would I do, blah, 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 blah. So when other people come here purposely, I'm like, well, nobody else seems to like it, so explain. Explain yourself.
Oh, you're talking to me?
No.
She was looking in your direction.
I know.
Yeah.
If you're bored, then you're boring.
Wow. Okay, now that we've solved that. Yes, I understand.
Bored now.
Bored now.
Well,
Now we're talking about Bob's tattoos. We're supposed to be talking about the podcast.
I'm talking about how I feel about your voice.
I thought that we had agreed that we were not going to fight. We were going to play nice because we have a guest. So we'd be in our best behavior.
Yeah, but we also agreed to give him an authentic podcast.
Well, I believe he's getting that right about now, isn't he?
I'm gonna sit over here and get out of Tabitha Soren's way. Go right ahead.
I mean, feel free to ask your own questions. This is a joint podcast, so...
No.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, as you were saying, Sven, you're not concerned about running out of people because there's always imports, there's students, there's all of the above.
and there's 5 people from 5 different bands making new bands because this town is really good about making new bands too. So
Yeah.
So then you get different sounds with different people collaborating. So as long as 4 people will add a new person and create a new band.
Yes. Yeah. Well, as long as there's a new songwriter in that group, somebody that I can. I don't know if I'll end up, because of that rotational nature, whether I'll end up interviewing another person, the same person again about a different band or music that they've written. But at this point, I don't see any repeats in the near future.
So you wouldn't interview Phil Collins for his solo work and his work with Genesis?
I'm gonna just do a hard pass on both of them.
Oh!
No.
Wow!
No, well, I'm going to give a better...
Black people mad.
Don't do it.
I'm going to point out that I actually prefer the fact that these are not famous people. I mean, they have their own fame in a way. I don't know how you want to interpret that, but I feel like non-famous people have just as great of stories too. So it's and everybody's heard all the other stories about from the famous people. So that story's been done. So I feel like the lesser known are the ones that I want to be talking to.
That's
You're
pretty
going to
cool.
bring new stories out into the world. That's awesome.
And you also interview. It's not a white man's podcast. So I want to point that out for those who have not listened to your podcast that you do.
Well, I do definitely try to get variety in terms of musical styles as well as different types of people, and I try not to call attention to it. Not that's wrong, but I do try to get the lesser heard voices that we don't necessarily get a chance to hear from because either they're not white males is how the easiest way to look at it, and I find that it's kind of important that those voices be highlighted.
Yeah.
They seem like you're a pretty eclectic person already, but do you find that through doing the podcast your tastes have broadened even further, or is it pretty much the same kind of? You're just open.
I try to listen to as much as possible. And if anything kind of floats up through the social media feed, I always try to at least hop on and listen to a song or two and see what... Because usually people will post and they've just released an album, so it's always nice to know that that's out there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't necessarily... I guess I've taken more of a more buffet version of music these days where it's like... I like to be able to go and sit down and be like, I'll take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a little bit of that. And the only problem with that, though, is it's that, oh, yeah, that was really good, but what was that I ate? Sometimes I get that feeling like, oh, which one was that? And then I, kind of have to trace my steps back. And
it's always back to Miss Pettycake, right?
That's right. That's a firm foundation to any musical collection.
Good answer.
I knew you'd like it. Yeah.
Nice. So, in addition, do you have any more questions?
No,
on
I
the
was
podcast?
waiting for no.
Okay, so you got something pretty awesome going on, Svenstock.
Oh yeah.
Tell us all about it.
So Svenstock, this will be the 5th year. It's August 2nd, 2019. Just in case someone is listening to this, in a couple of years, and they're like, "Oh, when can I go?" Well, and Svenstock is something that I rotate every other year for Immerman Angels. So the first, third, and then this 5th year will be for Immerman Angels as well. Immerman Angels matches cancer fighters and cancer survivors and caregivers so that nobody has to face cancer alone, and that the support system is taken care of as well.
Nice.
It's been a charity that I'm constantly fundraising for, but I like to make this a special occasion every other year. Other years, I try to find a local charity that I can support as well. So in year 2, we did races, and then in year year
4.
year 4 was for Girls Rock, Champaign Urbana, and the idea is just really simple: is out in the country, start at 3 in the afternoon, go to midnight, tons of bands, tons of musical acts, and just try to raise as much money as possible for whatever charity it is at the time. But so far, it's been, a majority of it has been local bands that, I mean, bless them, they give their time freely, and I can't even express how grateful I am that they do this year after year.
Yeah.
And there's a spot to camp, so since it's all the way out in Sedoris, it's important to be able to enjoy, perhaps imbibe, and be able to just kind of crash and not have to crash. So, and then for those that stay in the morning, I make pancakes for everybody.
And you get to pet donkeys, too.
Yes, we have 2 miniature donkeys, Abe and Super Bowl, or Abraham and Soupy, as we like to call them. But
Completely different names, but all right then.
Well, one was born on Abraham Lincoln's birthday, the other one was born on Super Bowl Sunday, and then we just kept the name because we're like, yeah, those are weird names, let's keep those. So, yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. So now the serious questions about Svenstock. 1, in years 1 through 4, have you ever had a mosh pit?
Actually, year 4 we had a mosh pit, which was kind of fun.
Okay.
Yes. The great thing is it's out in the country, and there is plenty of room to spread out, as one would say. But we had who was playing at the time? It was either Gould Jr. Gould Jr. had a little bit of a mosh pit going, but then when This Is a Stick Up played, which is heavy and punk, and you can't help but move. But yeah, there was a little bit of a mosh pit, which I was like, oh, okay, that's a new one.
That's awesome. I mean, I feel like you should put that in the advertisements. Mosh pit may occur.
Safe space mosh pit, though.
Well, and I'm also hoping, I'm hoping to have a nice, heavy block towards the end, with, at this point, the ones that, should I even say? But the ones that have agreed right now, we've got This Is a Stick Up, we have Not for the Faint of Heart, and we also have Acid Funeral. So it's gonna get a little dark up in here. So
Okay.
yeah,
Acid Funeral. That's a good name.
That is a great name. I've not heard them, but now I feel like I want to go listen.
What's your experience with mosh pits, Joy?
None. I have viewed them from a distance.
So are you trying to de-virginalize your mosh pitness? Is that why you're asking these questions?
Anything is possible, but
it could be a ginger.
A ginger mosh pit. Yes, sign me up.
Thank you for that, Sven. Please continue to talk about Joy's
Right, I was
need
like,
to
well,
sleep with a ginger.
Kid Sven is a loyal listener, so he knows all of the crazy that we get into. All right, I just got one more thing I need to know about Svenstock.
Yeah.
Is there all kinds of free love happening there, or what?
Ooh. Ginger love.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not just ginger love, just love in general.
It's definitely you'll get all sorts of people, and
Okay. Like hippies.
well, a little bit of hippies, a little bit of It's I don't know how to answer that because it's just whatever. It's all good, but not that
She
I'm
wants to know
aware
if
of,
people
although-
fuck at Svenstock.
I'm sure he's understood the question.
No, I understood that, but
I'm just trying to
I
take you
mean-
out of uncomfortable to completely uncomfortable.
no, I was just thinking how wide some of our trees are.
Oh, okay.
So there might be some hiding behind there, but
Okay,
and
so
there might have been a
if it is, he
misinterpretation of what
doesn't know.
cornholing means.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
And I think if you get a hand job on the way to Svenstock, it technically still counts
sure does.
as a hand job at Svenstock.
I mean,
It's in the
are you-
pamphlet.
I feel like you brought up hand jobs because you're hoping somebody will give you one on the way there.
I mean, are we riding together?
I didn't. I thought maybe I was kicked out of the car because I ain't gonna help you out. So
She's never touched my penis.
I don't know if that's something we actually have to state. I feel that people could tell from listening to us that that's never happened.
Wow.
Listen.
That's an eye roll.
Don't get all with your feelers hurt. It's not time for that.
Okay, but it's time for what?
It's time for yes or no questions. Yay!
Yes.
There's some yes or no questions, and I've added a new category, kids. It's called one or the other.
And she's looking at me
Why are you-
evil.
It's not even evil.
Evil.
It's just you have to choose one or the other.
Okay.
You don't have to explain your choices unless
No.
I ask you to. Everybody gets to answer.
Okay.
Not just Sven. All right, so we're gonna start. Let me find the safe one. Here we go. This is easy. Just dip in. Have you ever skydived?
No.
No.
Well, we know I don't do heights, but
Right. Thought we had covered my height problem also on that podcast, but whatever.
really. So we don't have time for hurt feelings. Can we do that later, or you know?
Later, definitely.
Hey,
with knives.
thanks. Love you.
Mhm.
This is a question not for Bob,
Oh.
but I just want to find out how good of a person you are. Do you like chocolate?
Yes.
Do you like peanut butter?
Yes.
I knew I liked you as a person. Thank you for clarifying that. That's wonderful. Have you ever told a big lie that immediately blew up in your face?
I'm sure yes.
Oh, you're sure yes, but you can't think of it? Bob?
Yes.
Immediately? Okay. Why do you have to look like that?
I'm lying now.
I mean, you lie often, so
With others.
it's always back to sex with you. Always
Really?
back to sex. All right. Have you ever impersonated someone else in a real life situation?
I mean, sometimes I think myself I impersonate like somebody more gregarious and outgoing.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
I would
that's
say
fair.
yes.
All right. What about you?
In person?
Yeah.
No.
No?
On the phone, yes.
Ah!
Oh.
I think we've all done it on the phone.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've definitely impersonated other people on the phone. But that's also like a high schooler's game, right?
Mhm.
At least.
Yeah.
Middle school, when you're trying to get out of things, you're trying to do that grown up voice.
Preschool, you know.
Yeah. Preschool.
Little Bob won't make it to school today. So,
Little Bob. Yeah, that's how I refer to myself.
it was for reference so people understand.
You could have said Bobby.
I would not say that because then your eyes would have come outside of your face.
I know.
Exactly. Ooh, now we've already talked about this. Have you ever blackmailed someone?
No.
What? So you're just like a pure soul? I don't even know what to do with that answer. How about, have you ever had a one-night stand? Before you were married, obviously.
No.
No. Wow.
It was different times then.
Just
It
pure.
was.
Just the purity of it all.
Oh.
I feel like we should apologize. All right, there's just two more before we get to our new category, one or the other.
Mm.
Would you ever exist solely on pizza?
Yes. I would do that.
Already in progress.
I've heard about these mystical people who don't believe in pizza or just don't
Yes.
eat it, and I cannot support that. I don't think I could ever be friends with somebody who doesn't believe in pizza.
Now, can we switch it up and be like calzones or Hot Pockets or...
Now, I feel like you're getting to a place where you're trying...
Well-
don't bastardize my pizza with a Hot Pocket.
I'm all about pushing boundaries.
I understand that. Now, I give you calzones, but Hot Pockets
What about
is...
pizza rolls?
Ooh, because pizza rolls are delicious.
They have pizza in the title.
They
so
do.
They have to be included.
I feel like they have to be
Oh,
included.
and did you know that if pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime?
Oh, yeah.
That's what the ads say.
Is that what
Were
the
those
ads
the
tell
bagel
you?
bites ads?
Yes. Could you imagine somebody's like, "Don't worry, it's on a bagel."
You know, they probably got that idea from someone's failed pizza place where they probably just try to serve everything on a bagel.
Probably. That is exactly right.
There was.
I don't know if I've ever had those bagel pizza things, and it just looks horrible. I don't.
I mean, if you microwave a bagel, you know what that does.
Yeah.
It turns into this chewy. Ooh.
Gross.
Anytime though.
Anytime.
Okay, moving right along. Now, I'm going to need more information after you answer this. If
Uh-oh.
you had to listen to one music artist forever, could you do it? Be strong.
I don't. I mean, I'm sure I could do it because I would have no choice. But
That or
No,
death? Which one do you choose, sir?
oh well, I guess I'd just go with one. But who would it be? Is you're wondering,
That's
right?
going to be that's why I need more information.
Do I have a chance to study before they put me to death, or weigh? And would I be able to select a musical artist that had the potential to have a long catalog?
I mean, I
'cause-
feel like you
Or
could. You could.
if
Because you could be like
If you
Bowie.
picked a songwriter, you could do like Prince, and then you had all kinds of
shit.
other people's music.
Like where your head's at.
Look, he's always finding loopholes.
but then
to
are you
things.
going to do... Well, no, not that I'm saying this about Prince, but... No. I'm just saying, would you choose quantity over quality? Not that Prince... I'm just saying...
I mean, Pussycat
But-
Troll is the best song ever written, but
I see...
He's just nodding his head like,
Yes.
I will not argue at this now
Yeah.
time. I'm just going to let that go.
but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Quality over quantity.
Because I almost feel like David Bowie would be a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, I don't...
Bob, throw somebody out there.
Oh, obviously Melissa Etheridge.
Oh, clearly that's in your top 5 whenever I think of you. Or
Oh, why are you making me do this? This is hard.
I understand that's
Death.
the point. Okay, death for you.
Death for me.
We've got shooting range for you, sir.
Great, the slowest way to die.
Yeah. Honestly, because of the catalog of it all, because I have hard time choosing just one, but I would go with Tori Amos because I'm pretty sure I could make that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I let you have that one.
I mean, you didn't say you chose
I know,
death.
chose death.
I could have chose somebody else. You don't know me.
Right.
Anyways. All right, kids. One or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Given a choice, would you give up your eyesight or your hearing?
Oh, shit.
Right?
If you need to think about it, I know it's eyesight for me.
You'd give up your eyesight?
Mm-hmm.
Even with your...
I'd
visual-
rather hear myself talk than see myself in the mirror.
I love when you bring it around full narcissist circle for us.
Oh, gosh. Would everything be subtitled? No.
Everything could be subtitled. I mean, we live in that world, so you could have the current technologies. And that's
Yeah,
why
I
it's a
don't know.
harder one. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to say, I guess I'd give up my eyesight.
Joy?
Too much good stuff.
Eyesight, yeah. Because you could always listen to music forever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So, did you have another question, Joy?
Of course I did. I mean, I had more. All right. DC or Marvel? Quick, fast.
Marvel.
Marvel.
Marvel. Music or movies is probably simple.
Music.
Music.
Yeah, music. Savory or sweet?
Savory.
Swavery.
Swavery?
Bacon with sugar.
I'm going to say sweet. And for our final question, and you've got to choose.
Ooh.
Quick. Florida or Alabama?
Shit. Florida. Because there's at least Disney World. And Universal Studios.
Alabama, because my mom lives there.
Oh, how nice. Such a good son.
Mm-hmm.
Florida. Just give me the Gators.
Give me the Gators. All right, Sven, thank you for joining us on From Heartbreak to Hate.
Yeah.
And tell everybody where they can find your podcast.
Well, you could just find me on any of the streaming platforms pretty much just by searching Champaign is also a band. And find me on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And Svenstock is
August 3rd, and that's going to be from 3 until midnight. And then if you stay in camp, when
Yeah.
the pancakes run out.
okay. And I'm sure you'll find that through a friend of a friend liking it on your Facebook page. If you're listening, if you don't not in the know, if not, you can type it into your search, right?
Yes, there should be a Facebook event at some point.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks again.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
We had so much fun on your podcast, and we hope we have extended a good time to you.
Yeah, I am not as terrified as I thought I would be.
Great.
So that's good.
We always.
We always play nice for our guests.
Did we really? Anyway, ahoy, joy.
And remember that to be beautiful and natural is the birthright of every woman. And I wish you all loads and loads of loveliness and good luck.